congregation was planted. So please do well to let us hear from you. Let's pick our first candidate for this presentation.
Yeah, my name is George Kumi. The first one is, where do you fellowship? I worship with Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Trinity Congregation in Leominster, Massachusetts, where that is the part of a New England district. And the second is, how was the local congregation planted? That research and list and step-by-step approach we should use. As source, I wrote Reverend Ernest Nagapo, who was my district minister at that time. So the number is there, and then from church history. The Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Leominster, was established by Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Worcester congregation. That was headed by Reverend Ernest Nagapo. As members from Leominster were increasing in the Worcester congregation, a decision was made to open a branch of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana in Leominster to shorten the traveling and also give access to those who did not have means of transport to attend church service at Worcester. The members of Leominster were asked to find a place of worship, but for a whole year, no place was found. By the grace of God, Mr. George Kumi, Mr. Joseph Boateng, and Yao Ado found a place in Leominster. They then informed the session in Worcester for inspection. The lease agreement was signed by Reverend Ernest Nagapo. The men fellowship in Worcester agreed to pay the rent until the members were fit to pay themselves. 6 people were then elected as interim management committee to help take care of the church. The next one is, what challenges did they face? The first one is financially, because we were supposed to buy instruments, chairs, and others. So apart from the men's fellowship who have planned to pay the rent, we need those money for those things. So the first one is financial difficulties. Second one is finding a place to rent, as I said earlier. With rented place of worship, there was a limited time of 2 hours, so we need to do everything in 2 hours for the whole week. And because of that, there wasn't much of prayer time, group meetings, and revivals. There wasn't room for our children also, so there wasn't any children's service. They will be with us, and as you know already, there'll be a lot of noise going around. 5, with us renting the place, we had to set up, clean up our instrument and then chairs after we had finished the place. We also had to find a place to store them. So I have 5 challenges that we went through. Reflect. With the knowledge from class, I will classify my church as asexual in terms of 8 nursery. It was asexual in the sense that there was an agreement in the session in Worcester to establish a branch as the Presbyterian Church in Leominster, and members situated in Leominster were growing. And that's my presentation. Amen.
I thank you, Thank you, Mr. Akumi. It's well noted. So we are, so to me, the church was established because the population at Leominster was growing. Is that what you mean?
Yes, because we travel all the way to Worcester at that time.
Okay, so we are going to get a secretary for this program. The two secretaries, we're going to get Koku and then Mr. Dumfe to be the secretaries to this one. All that we are reading, we are driving something out of it. When you are talking, I'm looking at your script. You can add some. I don't have any problem because you are doing the final presentation. So I have the script before me, and then I'm also going through. You can add some. That one, there's no problem. But I'm making sure that at least we pick a lesson from. So in his case, in Worcester's case like this, the people, you say, boto fase, Worcester, no, edien, ena, emayete ya, naturally say, enipa ni bi edien, omo doors on Leominster. Is that right?
Yes, Papa.
That's right. And the enipa no doors on home. So the Worcester Church was established. So church planting, the reason for planting churches, one can be when you know that a particular community is growing with your target population, you're able to go there. So population-wise, population growth can also lead there. And I still want to come out with something again with the forming of the church. I don't know. I should have clear our presentation. We got the story all right, but say the yeah. No gritty, I see Josephine, I see Joseph Watson, Yawasante, and I see Kumi. Now we then now we share morning devotion, and I'm about Mount Zion.
On the beginning, and we are all about Mount Zion to worship every Sunday.
It's a horse story, no. Mo form we answer okay, and the more I'm about Mount Zion, no, Mama baby, is that right?
Yes, that's how I said the session decided. There was a meeting, and then the session decided.
Fine. And and yet most artisans say more yeah in Pabobi, but okay. Okay. And that's it. So sometimes they can just add 1, 2, 3 are there. From today, we are going to use it to establish the church. That's fine. Thank you. You've done very well. You've done very well. You've seen again from what we learned, class, just within a minute, from what we studied and from what he said, what did you see as running through? What one word or one item did you see run through the formation of Trinity Congregation in Leominster? This is a general question, please.
Papa, I saw a growth in the PCG population, making it necessary for a new church to be planted.
Okay. That's right. Okay. Any other thing, please? Then also you also saw that they were having difficulty in getting a space. So the space they got, that was once a week and nothing else. All right. Thank you, acquainted and discharged. You've done a very good job. Very good job. Very good job. 9.8 over 10. 9.8 over 10. I've put the 0.2. I've put a 0.2 in my pocket. The 0.2 is in my pocket. It's in my yeah, so please write it 9.2, 9.8. That's a good job. Good job. All right, next person, please.
My name is Benjamin Kwashi. My case study or the church I write about is Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Better Congregation in Hendon, Virginia, USA. The congregation is an offshoot from Emmanuel Congregation, a Presbyterian Church of Ghana in Woodbridge, Virginia, in the Washington, D.C. district. Better Congregation was founded in 2001. The instance that led to the birth of the Better Congregation. A couple in the church has given birth and were preparing for an outdooring. The then district minister is Reverend Kofi Kakri. He was invited to the outdooring, but Papa could not make it to the outdooring, so he delegated the wife, Mama Kakari, to perform the ceremony on his behalf. So on the day of the ceremony, when Mama arrived, there were other members from Loudoun County and Fairfax County, which is around Hendon, Reston, Sterling, and Ashburn and Leesburg, came to the ceremony. All these people traveled from those places to the mother church at Woodbridge. So when Mama arrived and saw about 12 members in the house, she asked, why not start a church here and stop you people from traveling a long distance to Woodbridge? She used the opportunity to cut a shoot from the mother church and plant it. It is now the Bethel Congregation. That is how the Bethel Congregation started. The members were happy, and on the following week, they started worshiping at the couple's basement. The challenges. Less Ghanaians live in Fairfax and Loudoun County of Virginia. That makes it difficult for the church to grow, since Presbyterians seek to win only Ghanaians and those who can speak Twi. 2, the church is most built around families. So if a member relocates or transfers to another state or county, then the whole family leaves the church. All the members are grown-ups and there are no youths or children for future church growth. 4, there are leadership challenges, since the couples whose house the church is started from had some personal issues against the caretaker. 5, time schedule at members' workplace does not allow them to get full service on Sundays. And finally, it is a Twi-dominated church, and that makes it difficult for other African neighbors to join the church. Despite all these challenges, the Bethel Congregation is growing gradually. The active membership of the church is about plus or minus 50. Bethel Congregation is performing well in the Washington, D.C. district. Source, Mr. Edward Opoku-Mensah, and his contact number is stipulated under. Thank you.
Wow, another beautiful one. Wow, class, isn't this also beautiful? It is indeed beautiful. Wow. Sorry. Wow. Wow. So at that time, who was made the caretaker when this happened?
His name is Godfred Gyampoh.
Okay. So it means there wasn't anything like morning devotion, nothing, but just knowing that, okay, more doors from what, sorry, is that right?
Yeah, so a week following the outdooring, the people started meeting at the basement of the couple. So that's how it started.
Wow. So interesting. Wow. Okay, class. Any question for them?
Yeah, Papa.
Yes, please.
May I know what happened? Because this thing, because of the naming that they plan to open that church there. What happened to the main church? What did they say during that time?
Yeah. So whilst that happened, what was the reaction of the main church?
They took it in good faith. I was not there originally when the church was planted, but I came to join the church later. When I came to the district, I also went to the mother church at the Emmanuel, and the people over there told me that they have opened a shoot at Hendon, which is closer to me. So it is better for me to go there than to travel that far. So for the members in the mother church to be directing people who are close to this church back to them means there is a cordial relationship between the mother church and the offshoot.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. Any other question, please? Any other question?
The question will be, what are they doing about the language barrier? Thank you.
Okay, that will be for all of us. That will be a question for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah, that will be a question for, so write it. What do we do about the language barrier? Okay. All right. So Ben Kwashi, this is a question to you. So from your analysis that you made, how do you link this to what was studied in class? Do you see any link in there?
Yes, the link is, as a process of church planting, some of the churches can be started from nursery, and some can be cut out as a, I don't know the actual scientific term, but they can be cut from the actual plant and transplanted at another place. So this should be like a
so this
not
kind of
from nursing.
Vegetative.
Yeah. So this is not nursing, but this
No.
was really taken off from the main
Please.
shoot, right? The
Yes,
asexual. Okay, that's fine. So
What we say is propagation.
yeah, asexual. So one thing that I want the secretaries to write is the fact that less Ghanaians in targeted area. This is one of them. When you look at Fairfax, you can see London County has that challenge over there. Then again, you can see that leadership challenge, right? Yeah, leadership challenge. Okay. So, Papa, what are you trying to say in the 4.4? What are you trying to say, please? Last one.
Yeah, from what I know,
yeah,
the caretaker was originally staying with the couple whose children were a child was at Dodd. They had their personal issue. So when the church came up and they make that person the caretaker, they were not happy about it because of the personal issue they have with him. So it's like they are using that. Anybody who comes to the church, they will call you and start telling you those issues they had with the caretaker. I mean, which discourages certain members. In my own time of staying there, I heard those things. Some people left because of those issues. So it has been a kind of a challenge in the growth of the church.
Wow, it's really an issue. So we can also, it's a challenge. So this challenge can also be that how do you call it? Family ties or family disputes. Family dispute, right? This can be termed as family dispute, having adverse effect on the church. Family issues, right? This is really a family issue or something that happened in the home and it's gradually eating into the church. You'll get to know more when we go to the other churches. I'm interested in this presentation as well. That's fine. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know already the 0.2 is in my armpit already. So 9.8, 99.8. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Acquainted and Discharged. Very good presentation. Next person, please.
Baba, please, I'm going to work. I will be off video, but I'll still be connected to audio. Is that okay with you?
You are presented, so that's fine. Yeah, that's good. But we need to see who is present. That's fine.
Thank you, Papa.
All right. Yeah, so Next person, can we have Hannah, please?
Okay, so at the moment I fellowship online with PCG Australia Sub-District, but my focus will be on Redemption Presbyterian Church, Awuku-Gyampoh, Koforidua, one of the Presbyterian churches I attended in Ghana. And I had the opportunity of talking to the then senior presbyter in the person of Mr. Martin Oforiado, who gave me all this information. So Redemption Presbyterian Church was inaugurated in 1995, and this was how it was planted. Some members of the Bible study and prayer group from Ascension. So Ascension is the main Presbyterian church in Koforidua, I'll say the headquarters. They decided to plant a church at Kole in Kwanta. They started evangelizing and meeting on Friday nights for Bible studies and prayers. This went on for a while, but there was no improvement. They then decided to relocate, and that was when Awuku-Gyampoh came to mind. They went and surveyed the area, got to know the chief and the people, and were convinced that Awuku-Gyampoh was the right place to plant the church. They also realized that the Koforidua Nursing Training College was not far from there. So evangelism started, and later the chief gave them a place to start. It was by the roadside under a tree, and they were meeting only on Friday nights. Soon after, their number increased as some of the nursing students joined, and then people from nearby suburbs like Two Streams, Kwanta, Trum, and Agavenia also joined. The chief again gave them another place where they put up a shade, Apata, and that was when they started their Sunday services. They kept worshiping under the Apata for a while until they fenced it with India wood. So the approaches they used, they got to know the place very well, and the people before they started evangelism, meeting for Bible studies, meeting for prayers. They also had good leaders, like they were very committed. They were not backing off or anything. They were just ready to plant the church. And then also by word of mouth, they started encouraging people, especially the nursing students that were traveling all the way from that area to Ascension to start coming to the new church, and they did. So the challenges they faced. The first thing he talked about was transportation. Traveling in and out was a challenge as those places were a bit remote. And in fact, I lived there from 2000 to 2003, and I knew exactly what he was talking about. So transportation was a challenge. Money was also a challenge. They didn't have anything to even run the small group. So the people were actually donating things, and dust was also a problem. Of course, they were by the roadside and they were under a tree. Even when they moved to the RC, they were still having that problem because when to leave dust on them. He talks about noise as well. Yes, because they were by the roadside, of course, the same problem, noise. If people walks by and talks and whatever, they just, sometimes when they are doing Bible studies, they had to stop because of the noise. They didn't also have permanent building. So they moved from under a tree to a shade and to a wooden structure. And that was the structure that I saw. But thanks be to God, now they have their own building. And I was quite shocked when he told me now it is the second largest Presbyterian church in the Koforidua district. So that's my presentation.
Right. Thank you. That's right. So picking a church that I'm familiar with will mean that I'll be asking more and more questions, because 11 years ago, I was at the district head, and so I know Awuku-Gyampoh very well. Yeah, so if you look at the approaches they used, in fact, I'm just looking at your work, another excellent work done, very simple. Just that, let me see. Just that you went to page 2. You went to page 2. So I'll deduct 0.00001 from it because you went to page 2. So I deduct because you have to make my work very difficult. Even if a dot goes to page 2, I'll deduct 0.00001. Don't let anything go to page 2. It's only page 1. So that is a great class. If you look at how they planted this church, what do you make of it? What do you make of it? Very practical approach has been presented. Like they were doing very good in Bible study. They made a survey as well, which I know when you talk about church planting, I mean, you can't come to Koforidua and mess up. They know how to plant churches. They know how to plant churches. Then also, they realized that it was closer to a nursing training college. And so they took advantage of that. And they were meeting on Friday. It's a praying church. The challenge they had was, as it was said, meeting place. Meeting place. The location had a problem because you won't get a car. You won't get a car. And walking to the roadside will be about, to take you between 20, how many minutes? 20, 25 minutes to the roadside. Is that right?
No, but by the time, I think maybe about 40 minutes.
Okay.
Walking from Awuku-Gyampoh to the main road, yeah, about 40
maybe
minutes.
Because I was always driving to the side. I may not be, yes.
And so, it was not tarred. The roads were not tarred, like in Futuro, Quine Pass. So, like by the time I be do main road,
yeah, yeah. So that was one of the challenges that indeed they faced. All right, dust. And the dust is true. It's very true. Yes, and yes, I'm getting to cry. Okay, any question to them, please, to her as a representative of the church. Any question, please?
Papa?
Yes, please.
I know Awuku-Gyampoh, but my question is, we normally, when we open or we establish church like this, we normally go to the classrooms and others. Why didn't they try to find any classroom or any school nearby so that they can use it than going through all those things?
Yes, if you look at...
Okay, Papa, I'll answer that.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, so even in 2000 to 2003 that I was there, they didn't have any school there. No school. There was no school there.
Yeah. That is why, if you had it, I had 2 streams. I had Colley, I had Trum. Trum has a school. And if you consider Awuku-Gyampoh to Trum, now as I'm telling you, 2 streams has a church, Colley has a church, Trum has a church. And you can just walk to all those places. You can just walk around those places. That is church growth. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful one. That is a wonderful. Just like you went to page 2.
Papa, just out of curiosity.
Go ahead, please.
You mean they started under a tree?
That's right.
Yeah. And he actually showed me, like he pointed, like, do you remember that? I said, yes, I do. That tree very close to the children's service building. I said, yeah. He said that was exactly where we started. So yeah, under a tree.
Jeez.
That's right. That's Ghana, yeah. And then you love to see them when they meet. And I know the same thing happened when you go to Abu to the same thing. Those days, when I visited, they were sitting on a tree and worshiping God. And today, they have also built a chapel. So the zeal alone to worship God is amazing. And now, in the Koforidua district, the second highest is that congregation. Because where I was, my second church is also a district. So now it's the main Ascension with the other ones. And of course, they have a very big chapel there. And we thank the forerunners for this yeoman's job. As usual, 2 is my pocket, but because she went to page 2, we just subtract 0.000001. So, of course.
Baba, please, there is something I want to add.
Please do.
At times, like Ascension, when we were there, when they start to establish churches at other places, you see that you won't see people coming. And those members there think that, it's because something has happened. That's why people are not coming. And it's when people see those things, they also relax. As I say, maybe say if when we establish other churches, we should let the members know that maybe we have established here. That is why maybe those people are worshiping there. So the number definitely is going to decrease and God is going to fill in. Because nipa mapena aiso and then send the Ascension group for makura. And then people start sabri into kwesi, sabri weyesi. There will be some grievances under it. Inti mesrese se biribisa no asafomana sobeti se yenu yanu we no mate wom inti na fe wom na ehon eseso omosom no, they will also be so happy that yenu yanu mate wom inti yanso yenyere yehon na yenkoso na ebiba beka yehon.
All right, thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay, please.
So yeah, he told me that when they started, there were a lot of students that were traveling from the nursing training college to Ascension. So they made announcements, like they kept talking about it and just encouraging them not to travel that far, but then so that they could plant this one. And there was announcement at the time, announcement, and it helped Emma nursing students almost that say, yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good. That's fine. I think we have learned a lot. We have learned a lot from that. Thank you. More practical. Thank you. Yes. So we'll move to the next person. Yes, thank you.
My name is David Asamoah. I wrote about Faith Community Church in Sydney. I was part of it when they started. The church started in 2007 with a group of people whom they knew themselves. They started it as a fellowship in one of the members' house. They were only 9, made up of 3 families. 9 made up of 3 families. They meet there every Sunday, pray and share the word of God. Their numbers begin to grow. They worship there for 6 months, then decided to rent a bigger place to worship. The numbers kept increasing, so they came together to elect a leader who can lead them and also manage the church affairs. Now the congregation grew to 60 members. In 2008, the pastor and the leader of the church wife died. So the church lost a lot of members. At that time, a lot of African churches in Sydney. So if any issue happened in your local church, they use it against you. So the church faced a lot of challenges due to the death of the pastor's wife. Sometimes 15 members when they meet on Sundays. But in terms of all the challenges, the church did not lose hope. They continued to meet and worship God. In 2010, the church began to increase in numbers and they name it Ghana Faith Community Church. they came together and formed a welfare team. The team began to visit those who have stopped the church because of that issue, because of the issue that happened in the church. And Ghanaians who are not members of the church, they did this in a way of evangelism to win more souls for the church. The church also did revival, marriage seminars, outdoor games. Another thing that the church did is to open doors for those who want to use the church premises for anything that they want to use. And also, they were also supporting people financially and immigration matters. The doors were open for everyone who needed their help. In 2014, the numbers increased to 100 and over. They formed a very good church leaders who will help the pastor to manage the church affair. The church decided to buy a place where they can worship permanently. The church managed to save some money and also asked the congregation to contribute towards the buying of the church building. The congregation agreed, and everybody started paying what the specific amount they were told. In 2016, they bought a place and built a 9 church, and they named it Faith Community Church. Since then, the church has been growing from strength to strength. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so I understand. Thank you for that beautiful exposition as well. Good. Let me come in here. So as they met, were they not having a leader?
No.
Wasn't there any leader?
No, that time no leader. So they were just, that time we just go there to the house and then pray, maybe sing, and then, you know, one of them would just share the word of God. So that was what they were doing until we got a few members who came and joined.
Did they know themselves already? Because like I said, you boom, as you're talking, I say boom. You're talking about a number to the tune of about 60, I guess.
Yeah.
Did they know themselves somewhere? Because so to get 60,
they know themselves. When we started meeting at one of the church members' house, we were just you know, telling people that, oh, we go to this house to meet and all this, and so people were coming to join us to worship at that house. So later we moved from there, and then we rent a place. So that's where they started. A lot of people started coming there.
Okay, yeah. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Another
yeah.
one. So sorry about that. It could be a mystery to say that the demise of the wife of a pastor could lead to a breakdown. Is there something that maybe it will help for the sake of the studies? What was a mystery behind the death that could cause a church to
because that time there was a lot of African churches that a lot of competition. Let me say competitions here. So when the wife died, people were saying, "Oh, in this church they are not good." Or this church, a lot of things, you know. If you go to this church, look at it, the pastor, even the wife have died, and all these things. So people were they started, you know, thinking, okay, then I won't go to the church. So people withdrawn from the, you know, we lose a lot of members from our.
Thank you.
That's how it was. Yeah.
Thank you. Class, please. Any question for him, please?
Yeah, but this Ben Kwashi, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I want to find out. I think so. Is the church currently still Faith Community Church, or is Ghana Presbyterian Church of Ghana?
No, it's Faith Community Church. It's not Presbyterian Church.
All right.
Papa, is it the church he is understudying? That is the faith, or he's training as a catechist for that church, or for Ghana Presbyterian Church of Ghana?
Yes, I told him to.
No, I changed it. No,
to study.
Yeah,
the church that he came from when he got to this country. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, we needed a variety of views, so those he had to share them so that we don't get one story running through all of them.
Yeah, Papa, again, this is for my own sanity. Is David with PCG or still with the Faith Community Church?
David?
Yeah, with PCG. So, I'm not with the Faith Community Church. I stopped that place already. Long time. Okay. Yeah. I just use this one because if we all say we are going to use Sydney PCG, everybody is going to be the same thing. So that's why
you have answered my question. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, that's good. That's good. At least we've gotten to see how mystery can also, change the church. Something happening to the leader's family alone can also bring the church. Oh, wow. Anyway. All right. So acquainted and discharged. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, next person.
Papa, is Stephen Dunfer here?
Yes, I've finished looking at your work. Yeah, it's here.
Where do you fellowship now?
That's right.
I fellowship with the Presbyterian Worship Center, Perth, Third Congregation.
That's right.
How was this local congregation planted? PWC Perth was planted from scratch. There was no PCG, Presbyterian Church, in Western Australia at the beginning of 2016. Through the coordination work done by Reverend R.K. Awuku-Gyampoh, a group of individuals fellowshipping at Auntie Mercy's residence at Unit 220 Lawson Street, Bentley, started a church with Isaac Boateng as a caretaker. Conduct a research and list the step-by-step approach they used. A. Auntie Mercy and others started home fellowship in early 2016. 2. Reverend Awuku-Gyampoh discussed with Auntie Mercy to invite Isaac Boateng, then a student, to be a caretaker of the group in March 2016. In June 5th, 2016, the group commenced a Sunday service. The church was formally inaugurated on September 30th, 2018. I was personally present during this ceremony. I was appointed the Men's Fellowship group leader in early 2019. What challenges did they face? Some of the leadership team members were not committed to PCG type of church administration. 2, some of the leadership team members desired the one-man type of church. PWC PET broke up into two groups in May 2019. One group went out to form a one-man church. The caretaker, senior presbyter, the clerk, went with the one-man church group. The remaining group, 3 people, has held on to become the mainstay of PWC PET. Church attendance on March 15th, 2020 was 26 adults plus 9 kids. This was the last face-to-face meeting before COVID-19 lockdown. How do the approaches above reflect what you have studied? The approach mirrors what we have studied. However, the desires of some of the leadership team towards one-man church approach was a constant source of division. Ever since the breakaway, PWC PET has remained PCG focused, and all is going well. Thank you.
Ah, I see. Class, let me leave it to you to ask questions here. Let me leave it to you to ask questions, please.
About what the PWC stands for?
Presbyterian Worship Center, PET.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Dunford.
Hey, Ejado, before he said the answer, what's saying?
Pacho, okay, me wa duma minti.
Office.
Okay, another day wa check.
Right.
Yo, Pacho, Mr. Dunford. A little clarity here. You said when the church began, there was no PCG. But on your second step, you said some people were fellowshipping somewhere. Who were those? And how did they come out with the Presbyterian concept?
Yeah, the individual members, some Ghanaians, some other foreign nationals. But the Ghanaians who were Presbyterians wanted to, still remain Presbyterians. And that was when they were trying to make contact. They needed help. And that was when they contacted Reverend Awuku-Gyampoh. And before that, there were other people who had also contacted him. So he brought all of them together, as I mentioned there, in somebody's home. And that fellowship, grew to become the church that we have today.
So you mean before conducting them, there were no fellowship among them at all?
Before
the introduction of Reverend Awuku, was there any fellowship among those early people?
Now, there were, look at it this way. If you have one person and then the children, and then there is a family friend coming to the home all the time, that was how the fellowship started, in somebody's home, where a foreign national was visiting the home. So there was that fellowship, reading the Bible, praying, but it was mainly a family.
That's what I wanted to know. So it began as a family fellowship group that started all this first.
But there was no direction. They didn't have anything.
No, what I wanted to know is, sorry to bother you, because I'm much particular about that point. It was a family meeting. It was a family meeting which generated into this.
So,
the other people came in.
Thank you. Let me help you. It was like Mr. Abdul and your family, right? And then you got a visitor from Australia. So when he came, he's also a Presbyterian. Then it became like, oh, Papa, President, oh, okay. Then let's start a church. And then we began by meeting on Wednesdays on phone to pray.
Oh, okay.
And then having met that for about 3-4 times, if I wanted someone to lead, but the woman said she wouldn't be able to lead. The man also said, no, he can't lead. So I was still looking for someone who could perhaps read, write, and be able to preach. So I got another call from Ghana, one of the Presbyterian ministers, telling me that the brother is also in Perth, and he was a presbyter at Esiakwa. And so I got to get his contact to, spoke to him. He was at a Bible school. So talking to him, he also expressed interest of becoming a minister. And I said, wow, then why don't you come to your mother church and then we all work together? So based on that and the recommendation for my brother, who is a minister of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, I was able to be confident enough and also asked him to be preaching on, what do you call it, Sundays. So that started a church. That started the church out there. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other, please? All right. So thank you very much. That's been very.
Papa,
Yes.
Papa,
Yes.
wait.
Yes.
Just that. So it all started just an identification of one family as could we say a Presbyterian before an existing Presbyterian member? The person was a member then.
Yeah, so that family, they were just doing normal family devotion. Okay. So it was a coming of the third party that they were able to begin something. So it was.
He was a Presbyterian before.
Yeah, the guy was a Presbyterian. Yeah, he came to this country as a Presbyterian. Yeah, he came to this country as a Presbyterian. He wanted to also become a minister, which we all spoke, and then the story of the division came about. The challenge, which I want to tell you because we are learning for the sake of learning, is that the guy to be the language guy, the one to be the caretaker, wanted that position of like the moderatorship. Like, I am the caretaker, offering comes to me, I am in charge, I am the chairperson of session, and the missionary or the sub-district minister has no hand in the church affair. That was where the challenge started, because at a point when I'd gone to co-opt Papa Domfe inside during the official opening, you know, Presbyterian Church, when you learn constitution, you get to know, until the church has trained you as a catechist, the district minister or the minister in charge cannot entrust the church into your hand completely like that, which today you got to know the functions of the catechist. So I was like, hey, if you are crying, you catch and say, Peter, sorry, no more here. Make us say, okay, take a no. Now I can't really render account. So I want to be the principal signatory to the account. And that was the main division said. Osofo should be out of our account. And you should only have spiritual oversight. And then you should make me the minister in charge and not caretaker, but charge. You wanted to be in charge. And I said, okay, if you want to be in charge, then let me recommend you to the church to train you. Then that pretty much, if there's any problem, they will call you because you are an employee of the church. At the moment, I'm the employee of the church. So I can't tell you that you are in charge when you're supposed to be with charge. And that was it. And so they started the and then they left from that. Let me just conclude like that. So they have left, the senior president left, the clerk left, the caretaker left, and all of them have gone to establish another Presbyterian church and made the gentleman their pastor. And this was a gentleman that the moderator himself told me that I should observe, I should jump to protocol and just send his name to Accra. They will bring him to Accra for about 2 times and make him a minister. This was the person the moderator said he's going to give him protocol to become a Presbyterian minister because he was so desirous to become a minister. But he followed some people who wanted to make him a king temporary. That is it. Let me use the opportunity to congratulate Papa Dumfe.
Baba, I think I have something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think making that person be in charge of the church at the beginning, it's a mistake right from day one. Because if I hear you well, you mentioned that his brother called you from Ghana telling you that he is there. When you spoke to him, he told you that he is training to become a minister.
He came here for Bible school, not to become a minister. But
he came for Bible school. It means he has his own reason for coming here. We didn't send him there. So from day one, we should know that somebody who already have the idea of coming to Bible school have his own agenda for forming his own church. And putting that person in charge of our church is a mistake we made from day one. So it's something we should look at in a future church planting.
That's another good observation. That's another good observation.
Ben, can I say something?
Please go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Being part of the group, and there are a lot of things that calls for discernment and wisdom. And I want to thank Reverend Awuku-Gyampoh for his presence here in Australia. Because the Presby as we know it, and from what I know, this is a personal experience, is that PCG can stand the test of time. But this gentleman, unless you meet him, otherwise, you may probably say what you just said. But all I can say is it got to a point where he allowed himself to be ruled by others. And that is where the whole issue started. Because if he had been able to have his own mind, if he stood firm, I don't think this would have happened. But he decided at some point in time to follow other people rather than listening to Reverend Awuku. And that was where the issue came in.
All right, so thank you. Thank you so much. A lot of things have gone in, but thank you to Papa Dumfe for that great move that he was able to stand in and stand very tall. And this is serious. At a point when Papa Dumfe came in, they wanted him to get him out of the board. And I'm somebody that when you come here, you will talk, but I only discern and give you the answer. They wanted him out because Mr. Dumfe didn't understand why they should tell the minister to stay out of administration when he has been sent here as a missionary. And this Mr. Dumfe stood very well. And today, by the grace of God, the church is moving. Thank you, Papa Dumfe, for that. Sometimes when I attend their session, I'm like, hey, there are this often asking me deeper and go they talk anyhow. Every session meeting, they will just be fighting. they'll just be fighting. I'll be like, hey, so it's God who has done his own thing. What he has done. All right, so let's move to the next one. The next person.
Okay. So I currently fellowship at the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Sydney, Australia.
I haven't received your work. Where is it? Oh, you got the wrong email. All right, so let's go to the next person. Because I go through to as you are presenting. Next person.
Okay, but I think the next person will be me. Yep. Okay. Thank you, Papa.
Hello, Papa.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
No, that's very man. That's very man.
Okay.
Ben Bokodia.
I'm very much also made that say.
Please go on. Yeah, I have your work here with me, please.
Okay. All right. So currently I worship at the Presbyterian Worship Center, Melbourne, which is 4th congregation. And the approach leading to the planting of a church is described below. So it all happened like a miracle. It's just like in May 2016, a Presbyterian minister by name Reverend Awuku-Gyampoh visited Melbourne on an account of an invitation by another church, which is called All Nation Church in Melbourne, for a revival. So at a revival, the minister introduced himself as a Presbyterian minister based in Sydney. Very luckily enough, there were some people at the revival who were Presbyterians, and they had an invitation from the All Nations Church pastor for that revival. So during the revival, they introduced themselves to the Reverend Minister Awuku-Gyampoh. Oh, but we are also Presbyterians from Ghana. So, but we live in Melbourne here, but there's no Presby church in Melbourne here. So we fellowship with different churches, but we had an invitation to worship with this woman today. As a matter of fact, the introduction, it gave a platform for brainstorming, and I think for the next way forward in the formation of Presbyterian Church in Melbourne here. Specifically, these people were Madam Sophia Adumako, Matilda Atefua, and then Mr. Benjamin Adumako. They introduced themselves to Papa Awuku-Gyampoh that they are Presbyterians from Ghana. Like I said, the introduction created a platform for brainstorming on the way forward for the formation of Presby Church in Melbourne. So these few committed members, they reached out to other people in their community, both Presbyterians and non-Presbyterians, to start a fellowship. They were like, okay, we want to start a fellowship. We want to begin something. We have met the Presby minister. He's in Sydney and he's interested. So let's try to come together and see if we can get something done. On 11th of June 2016, these dedicated members, they have gotten some few people, and they made a bold step to initiate their first meeting to think of the way forward. As at that time, they have not started the fellowship yet, but they've gathered some few people, and now they want to gather, have a meeting to think of the way forward in the formation of the Presbyterian Church in Melbourne here. They invited the Reverend Minister to join their meeting via teleconference, and it was a 3-hour meeting starting from 7 to 10 p.m. So after the meeting, they began to fellowship on Saturdays in one of the members' house. So after the meeting, they said, okay, now let's start Saturdays. You meet for prayer. As their number increased, Reverend Awuku advised them to secure a place to start a formal worship. And then these individuals tried their possible best to get a nearby school called the Grange Prep 12 College, where they were meeting on Saturdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for prayer meetings. Because the reason was that they wanted a place for a Sunday worship, but they tried their possible best. They were not getting a place for Sunday worship. So the available place for them to have was for Saturday at that school, that is 6 to 7. As a matter of fact, the Reverend Minister was not happy with the Saturday meetings because obviously Presbyterians do not worship on Saturday. So he tried to advise them that they should do anything possible within their powers to secure a place where they can have a formal meeting on Sundays so that the due process can continue. But with the help of the Reverend Minister, he constantly visited them ever since he had that encounter with them. He constantly visited them and organized revivals with them. And the good news is that with the visitation and the revival, it brought on board new several members from various places. Somebody will come up. I'm also a Presbyterian. I'm in Melbourne here. I didn't know there's a Presbyterian church here. Oh, I didn't know this. And you know, they came together and they had at least a number of people to fellowship together. So it continued like that, and Papa said, now we need to start a Sunday worship, a formal worship, so that it becomes a formal church in the name of Presbyterian. Because Presby, we don't worship on Saturdays. Thanks be to God, on the 13th of January 2019, the church had their first official Sunday service at Point Cook Community Center. That is where they were able to secure a place for Sunday worship. So the church worshiped at Point Cook for a while, and then they moved back to Grange, where they started from. At that time, by God's grace, they have gotten a place where they can worship on Sundays. And that place too was very close to where the members are actually living. So it's a place of convenience where they can actually meet and worship. So they came back to the Grange and they are worshiping there on Sundays, 11:30 to 1:30 p.m. And as a matter of fact, the church has been doing marvelously well until the outbreak of the COVID, of which now we are all having our service online. These are some few challenges they faced. A place of worship, obviously, planting a church from the scratch was a challenge, because where to get a place for Sunday worship? The woman I got this information from told me that they moved from schools to schools around the community, and there was nothing for them to secure as far as Sunday worship is concerned. And also, most of the members, they were actually in different churches because there was no Presbyterian church here. So they were attached to some churches, and some of them were in leadership positions. So leaving that church and give their full attention to the newly formed Presby church was a bit of a problem. Someone will come today and the next day they don't want to come because they have other commitments somewhere, and there was some kind of challenges and stuff like that. But eventually things are getting better now. And also getting instruments for the service at the beginning was quite a challenge. And I think one other thing I did not capture here, but she said is carrying their instrument to and fro, because they hide a place and there was no place to store their instruments. So it requires dedication. You have to carry them to and fro every now and then to go and organize the place for worship was a bit challenging. So relating this to what we've been studying actually gave the impression that for one to start a church or plant a church, as a matter of fact, preparation is very, very important, as well as meeting the right people at the right time. Just as I think the other day Papa said, because these three people Papa met who introduced themselves as Presbyterian, through them, their dedication and their commitment has actually resulted in what we are seeing here, that today we can confidently say that Melbourne, we have 4th congregation with a population not less than 50. And it is to the glory of God, meeting the right people at the right time. So the source is from Madam Sophia Admako, who is currently the Ecumenical and Social Relations Director for the church, and Mr. Benjamin Admako, who is also the Assistant Secretary, and Mr. Evans Asiedu, who is the Secretary of the church at the moment. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I have your work with me. Very nice work. You also got to page 2. I see 2 lines on page 2. So minus 0002 from maths. Yeah, and a very, very good story written. That's fine. So 2016 to 2019, it means that we did homework for 3 years. But we were able to move to a Sunday for 3 solid years. And if there has been any church that I've really invested my time, my resources, my everything, then you can leave Melbourne out. No, you can't leave Melbourne out. Let me thank the leadership, those who held the fort, and let me thank Papa very much. Ever since he came in, a lot of things continued. So thank you so much. So I'm sure the presentation is so detailed enough that we will not go again unless someone has a question for him. Then we'll go to that. They met, as I said. That's how. Of course, when the All Nation invited me, I told them I'll honor that invitation because I want to meet Presbyterians there and establish a church there. Then question book ben na ube bi mu ye kokore
Obisa me question sa na okumi nti a wa sha sia o ye research no.
Ben you're mute. Only Ben, 2 pens. Whenever you open your phones, fire.
Papa, I have one question for Berima.
Okay, please ask.
I know Melbourne, there are 2 congregations, but nothing was said about the second one. Was that an offshoot or was there a language issue?
There's someone here who will come to that. The person is here. The person is here. The person will come. The person will hammer on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, the person is there. The person will hammer on that. All right. So far, thank you. Ben Kwashi, do you have a question? Or mute yourself. I muted because I was hearing feedback. Because I'm behind the studio, little noise is heard here as big. Okay. Bernardo, come out from your studio and let's hear you. Bernardo, you have a question? Okay.
No, I'm okay. But is it my turn?
No, not a 10. I've also not received the work of Asari. He has intentionally asked permission to leave. I will get him and I will give it to him than anything else. I don't like that behavior. When I give assignments, you don't do it. They reported him to Mr. Dunfe to talk to him. I don't like that. At the end of the day, if I don't train you to become the best, it is my duty. That coordinate a crowd pocket on you good. That's my duty. You give him assignment, he will not do it. Now I saw him on the platform. He has left the platform. Assignment he has not done. So if you don't do assignment, how are you able to make amends? Mr. Dunfe, work on him 24. I want to hear something within 24 hours. What kind of behavior is that? How many hours will it take you to do this assignment? How many hours? From the time you left me, I've done assignments. I slept this morning 7 a.m. 7 a.m. 7 a.m. I slept 7 a.m. and I got up around 11 because I needed to make a presentation. Oh, the amount of assignment, yeah, you won't do it. You said the adherence who nimu crampo na only unimunso. That's what I'm saying. Send it to him. I'm recording it live on YouTube. When he comes, let him listen to it.
Papa, I will continue talking to him.
Okay.
Which teacher will entertain this? When the teacher gives you assignment, you won't do it, and the teacher will be quiet and look at you. Why is the teacher non-power? Any lecturer who does that doesn't like you. But later on, yes, why did you do it? You have to do it. He's the one that likes you. I'm not all. All right. Let's go to the next person.
Papa, but you're
When you're not crack, I mean, no crowd case. So when you're not, I mean, no, serious case.
And me said the mass and amount, but the rather ran it through brief. But
we are Juma, a friend is saying, telecommunication area. Look at the other can be a feedback anyway.
Yeah, but
clear.
Camera. Yeah,
cameras is used.
Yeah. Very brief. Please, I'm worshiping from Ebenezer Presbyterian Church.
That's right. Please go ahead.
Ebenezer congregation. Yeah, it started as an offshoot from Manhattan, PCG Manhattan congregation between 1994-95. There was some issue between Ghanaian traditional group within the church and some of the church members, particularly on their meeting days. So due to that, some members, they have the names in my write-up, left and joined another church at Ogden. And there they met Reverend Abuaji. At that place too, they had an issue. So the same members who migrated from Manhattan to Ogden left again to one man's house, which is one man among the three called Mr. Awuku-Gyampoh. So when they went there, they started a fellowship in Mr. Awuku-Gyampoh's house, where they met praying, singing, and as usual as Presbyterians already, they always remember their hymns, singing band songs, chorals, and worship. But that brought them together when I made my findings. And there was kind of a new wave of love and unity among them. So they continued in Mr. Awuku-Gyampoh's house for some time. And then they said, no, we have to look for a place. So one man called Mr. Atapra led them to look for a place in Bainbridge in Bronx and started the church, which later Reverend Denga came to inaugurated the church in 2003. Some of the challenges they had was in the initial stages, they had no money and they had no place of worship. That was why they moved from Mr. Awuku-Gyampoh's place when Mr. Takra found a place of worship. And then one person also sacrificed to pay for the new place they found as a place of worship for 3 months until the third month, the church started to gather some correction or some money and began to pay their own rent. And in fact, that kind of fellowship within the church has sustained them until now as the church is moving forward, which has moved from the old place to now East Chester Road 8101 and the Bronx, where we are worshiping now. Now, some of the challenges they had initially was one leadership problem, because it was the same problem they had first. So I call it triple jump. They had it first, they had it second. So when they get to this point, they said they're going to train or make one of them the caretaker. So Mr. Tapra was made the caretaker, another man was made a financial director, and another man was made the clerk. And in conjunction with the people with them, they were initially 7 with 2 children, came together to continue the church. Now, what helped them for the church to grow? One thing which was interesting that I saw in some of my colleagues' presentation was, and Awuku-Gyampoh, was that when they came together and they were fellowshipping together and singing Ghanaian songs in our own way, it it touches other people. Also, when they were going out and in the Presbyterian uniform, then people began to ask, oh, who are those people? Do you have Presby here now? They said yes. So that also helped them to bring people into the church. One thing also was that visitation, because they were small at that point, they were able to visit individual groups in tens every week, and also were helping, giving their own substance, money, and others to helping each other. And in the Bronx, one thing which is also familiar is funerals. Whenever they go to funerals, they present themselves, oh, the Presby guys from this place, and people begin to see them, and then they follow. They also invite other people whenever they attend naming ceremony, weddings, and other social gatherings. They present themselves that, oh, we are the Presbyterian here, and that also brought people into the church. So that is what is, even now, that is one of the things which is helping the church to grow at this COVID setting. Thank you. And my information, I took it from Mrs. Jamara. Police, her name is there and her contact number is there. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Your line was actually breaking up, but I'm pretty sure the class was able to hear you out as you made that presentation. The bigger question is, are you talking about the current Bronx? Is it the current Bronx you're talking about, please?
Yes, the Ebenezer Presbyterian.
The way I wanted to hear it. You know, when you go home, record it on phone and send it to me, because I want to really know that background. I want to really know that background. So because we didn't hear him well, we will not worry him so much there. We'll not worry him so much there. Yeah, we're finding it difficult to hear you, unless maybe someone heard everything and needs to ask for clarification.
Yeah, Papa, I want to ask one question.
Please do.
The two previous churches that the people left to, are they Presbyterian churches or
those who left? Did they leave for a Presbyterian church, or they just left, please?
No, they were Presbyterian. They left and they formed the same people from the Ebenezer.
Okay. It's a bit hard. It's a bit hard to get it, but fine. That's fine. Papa, you want to ask a question?
Yep. So, what was the name of the Presby Church at Manhattan, where they migrated from?
For now, it's called Manhattan PCG Manhattan Congregation.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much. Let's dispatch you. Let's dispatch you for the sake of the difficulty in hearing you. Thank you. You'll get the right marks for presenting. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's go to the next one, please.
This presentation is being made by Andy Awuku-Gyampoh. Please, can you hear me?
No, Andy, where you are? Andy, give me. Okay, yes. So when it's finished,
can you hear me now?
So from Andy, we take the last one from Beverly, and then we are gone.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So the presentation is being made by Andy Awuku-Gyampoh, and I'm presenting for the Melbourne Faith Congregation. So where was the local planted? The local congregation was planted on the January 5th, 2020. Coincidentally, the church is also Fifth Congregation Melbourne branch, and under the dealership of the Australian Sub-District, which is headed by Reverend R.K. Awuku-Gyampoh, in consultation with its team of leadership and elders or presbyters, there was a need for the church to open a second branch, specifically in Melbourne. And the main aim of the church was there were three main aims, which is not so distinct from the aims of the Presbyterian Church in Ghana as a general, which was first to be Christ-centered, and two was to be self-sustaining, and 3 was to be church growth or growing the church. And so it was based on this theme that the church was created, but specifically it was created to bridge or to bring non-Ghanaian nationals living within the western suburb of Melbourne, which was non-nationals. I say non-Ghanaian national because the target was to aim people who are not Ghanaians, because the medium for communication for the Melbourne field was specifically or typically was supposed to be the English. So the focus was to target people who were not Ghanaians, other African nationals and other Europeans or any people from other world. So that draws me to the next question. Conduct a research and list the step-by-step approach. When it comes to church planting, from the studies that we've done, from a start point of view or from a church which no history, you need a leadership that can administer and manage a proper church group. So you need somebody who is well vested from the study that we did, who is a leader, who is an initiator, who is a creator to invent a church that will stand. And so by that, the leadership headed by Reverend Awuku-Gyampoh spearheaded and made a family, which is the Nyanko family, alongside the Awuku-Gyampoh family, which I'm the leader, put us together to chair this chair or to chair this branch of the Presbyterian Church. Apart from the leadership, we also, because we want to bridge the gap between the Melbourne Fort or to look at non-nationals, we're also looking at the location, which was specifically going to be an advantage. So we chose Point Cook because in the western part of Melbourne, Point Cook and Laverton is mostly like a center of Melbourne, which is not so far from our fourth congregation branch, Herpers Crescent. But the advantage for us is that we are at the heart of where our shopping center is. So probably it's easier for people to know where we are located. We also look at the people, like we said in our studies. Once you go to a place, you should know the culture and the language of the people so that you can vest yourself into them. You get closer to them, because the idea of the church is to propagate the word of God, to evangelize to people so that they can know God. So our aim was also to get closer to the people, like I said, non-Ghanaians, to also bring them to the kingdom of God. And there are also challenges that we face as a new church, because we're looking at one, lack of financial support. Is a new church with no finances coming from the sub-district or from nowhere. So it was difficult for us initially to get the needed funds to start a church. But by God's grace, the families came together and we were able to start something with the help of our Melbourne Fort congregation, spearheaded by Kat Keys Verima, who was even instrumental in the setting up of the church. I remember after we did our initiation, I was about 2 weeks off in Sydney relocating, but he took charge and managed the church for almost about 1 month with preaching and leading. So we thank him so much. We're also looking at or some of the other challenges that we faced was also, unfortunately for us, when we started the church, about 1 month or let's say almost about 6 weeks into the church, then the corona became a rampant, or it became something like pandemic. So we couldn't even meet officially as a church or as a unit to worship. But luckily, thankful to the online services, we are seeing our members and we are also meeting. And the other challenge that we are facing is that because we are new in Melbourne, it's kind of, we are in the mix because we don't know whether we are going or we are coming. I say this because of that we are not meeting, like I said, we don't have the physical presence of the church. We just went there for a short period and the corona pandemic was on us. But we are hoping and believing God that once the church or once the pandemic is over, we will meet to praise the name of God. So this is my presentation for the Melbourne Fifth Congregation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother, for that strong presentation. We appreciate your effort. You've done very well to also let us know what goes into that. And thank you to Papa Awuku-Gyampoh for also holding the fort. And let me say that if not for following the voice of God, there wouldn't have been Faith Congregation, because God told me, do it in January. And I did it in January. And the whole of January, Papa Berma took charge. February, Papa Andy went, and they met for like 4 times, and the COVID came. So if I had told myself like, oh, come maybe May, June, because I really, I don't cry, in church planting, you need to pray, seek the face of God, and let God direct you. And I'm sure it will be to the glory of God. I wish that the Liverpool had read their story too. Very interesting story too. So that is it, to bring it to a close here. And thank you so much for everything. I know it's going to be well. Whenever assignment is given, you just try, just attempt it. Just attempt it. Just do what, nobody beats you for what you write, but to ignore outrightly and not do anything, just take yourself to be said when I will chat here. Our master said, Dipano on tem to cry, say, or the paper pull see from, and I saw the pen pull see paper super, the only mistake. Not correct, no. It's a bit hard, Kakra, but we'll take it easy. And we know time. Thank you all for your contributions. Thank you everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you, and I mean thank you for everything. Whatever you have said, that is good. Next week, what is next week's assignment? Not check from your. I think next week is the YouTube.
The Otabel and.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so just find a church, get one church elder, just get an interview, just make an interview. Today we have learned a lot. I mean, just go there, you learn something here, and that helps you to, if it's a lecturer giving you lectures, you need to have had all the information that you have had from various areas like that. So just do the search. Here's the point. Don't write plenty. Here's the point. 1, 2, 3. When you come next, you're just coming to give us the point. Mention the name of the person you contacted, the phone number you contacted, and then blah, 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 blah.
Do you want us to do, Papa? Do you want us to do the 2 of them, or we choose one and do it, or what? How do you want us to do it? To do the 2 of them, Otabel and
how you want to do it? I'm okay with that. Okay.
Papa, so apart from Otabel name, that keyword mills, you to mean any other sorry biadi?
No. Kofo bin ma sorry biama. These are churches who are using strategies. I mean technical strategies to take over. Kumasi Accra.
Papa, there are other churches almost like
no way. This is Debbie. We are talking to church. Well, I say,
Ebu atema.
Ebu akusomo.
The concert party of maybe I'm giving you. But what's his name?
Hello, Baba.
Yes, sir.
Does that mean the way sorry and I say
style ben on the tia, sorry. Style ben. What the style? That's a style. Style ben on the tia, sorry. Best could be TV. Style ben, like I'm by telling Master Cramo, so need you one of it. I mean, just only saying, person saying, just go. I don't want to give you the answers. I want the point. So just about 5 points. Get just 5. Easy. Mean PSO. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Now, over to me, I will with you. We need to say we can just.
And also,
Right.
a
sign of research.
YouTube one after listening.
But just say.
YouTube one so when you write it, or what are you going to record the video for you, or